The survival gear industry has one job: convince you that preparedness is a product category, that the gap between you and safety is a shopping cart away from being closed. That if you buy enough tactical, military-grade, purpose-built equipment, you will be ready for whatever happens next. It is a compelling pitch. It is also almost entirely backward. The civilians who have made it through the documented emergencies of the last 30 years, the conflicts, the infrastructure collapses, the extended grid failures, did not survive because of what they bought. They survived because of what they knew, what they had practiced, and what they owned that worked reliably under the worst conditions imaginable without requiring anything from the outside world to function. Tonight we are stripping the gear conversation down to 5. Not the 5 most tactical items, not the 5 most expensive. The 5 tools that show up in survival account after survival account across genuinely different emergencies and genuinely different geographies as the ones that actually mattered. Subscribe now so you never miss a video on this channel, and stay for number 5. It is not a physical object. It is the tool that every other item on this list depends on to function, and almost nobody treats it as a tool at all. 1. A fixed blade knife with a full tang, not a multi-tool, not a folding knife with a locking mechanism that introduces a mechanical failure point under heavy use. A fixed blade knife with a full tang, meaning the metal of the blade runs the entire length of the handle as a single uninterrupted piece of steel. This distinction matters under real use conditions. A folding knife is a convenience tool. It is designed for light tasks in environments where you could also just go to the kitchen. A full tang fixed blade is a working tool. It does not fold, does not lock, does not have moving parts to fail. It processes food, builds shelter, prepares tinder, cuts rope, opens packaging, and performs basic first aid tasks, including clothing removal around an injury without introducing the mechanical uncertainty of a joint under load. Blade length between 3 and 5 inches covers the full range of practical tasks without becoming unwieldy. Carbon steel holds an edge longer than stainless under field conditions and is easier to sharpen with basic equipment. A quality fixed blade in this category costs between $30 and $80 and lasts a lifetime with basic maintenance. It is the single item most consistently present in the accounts of people who managed extended survival situations across every environment. 2. A portable water filter rated for at least 100,000 liters. Clean water is the constraint that ends survival situations faster than almost any other single factor. The human body begins experiencing significant cognitive and physical impairment within 24 hours of inadequate hydration. Within 72 hours, the impairment becomes critical. Within a week, without water, the situation is terminal regardless of every other preparation you have made. Stored water is finite, a filter is not. A hollow fiber or ceramic gravity filter rated for a minimum of 100,000 liters converts contaminated water from a bathtub, a rain collection, a stream, or any available non-chemical source into safe drinking water indefinitely, without electricity, without replacement cartridges for the foreseeable life of the device, and without technical knowledge to operate. The Sawyer Squeeze and comparable hollow fiber filters in the $25 to $50 range have been carried and used in documented disaster scenarios across multiple continents. They weigh under 100 grams. They fit in a jacket pocket. They convert the single hardest survival constraint from a finite storage problem into an ongoing capability problem, which is a significantly more solvable problem. Buy one, keep it in your go bag. It is the highest utility per dollar item in any serious preparedness setup. 3. A hand crank or battery AM and FM radio with NOAA capability. Information is a survival resource, not in a philosophical sense, in a direct operational sense. In every documented extended emergency, the civilians who made the best decisions were consistently the ones with the most accurate picture of what was actually happening around them. Where the threat was moving, which routes were viable, when evacuation corridors were open, when they were closing. In a grid-down scenario, every digital information channel fails in sequence. Mobile networks overload within hours. Internet connectivity becomes unreliable as infrastructure is damaged or deprioritized. Social media fills with unverified information that is impossible to triage without context. The AM and FM broadcast infrastructure, and specifically the NOAA weather radio network in the United States and equivalent civil defense systems in most developed countries, is specifically hardened for exactly this scenario. It continues transmitting verified, updated, actionable guidance when every other channel has failed. A dedicated battery or hand crank radio with NOAA capability costs between $20 and $40. It weighs almost nothing. It requires no infrastructure beyond its own batteries to operate. And the information it delivers in the first hours of a serious emergency is operationally more valuable than almost any physical item you could carry instead of it. 4. A quality wool blanket, not a Mylar emergency blanket, not a synthetic sleeping bag optimized for backpacking weight. A heavy wool blanket in the 1.5 to 2 kilogram range from any Army surplus store or quality domestic goods retailer. Wool is the thermal management material that every other material is measured against for good reason. It retains approximately 80% of its insulating capacity when wet. It does not melt when exposed to embers or moderate heat. It does not make noise when you move under it. It does not tear on contact with rough surfaces. It does not require a stuff sack, special storage conditions, or a particular orientation to function. You put it on and it works. In a survival scenario involving cold, damp, or exposed conditions, hypothermia is one of the leading causes of incapacitation and death, even at temperatures that do not feel extreme. The transition from cold and uncomfortable to dangerously hypothermic happens faster than most people expect, particularly under the physical and psychological stress of an emergency. A wool blanket is the passive insurance policy against that transition. It costs under $40 at any Army surplus store. It will outlast every piece of technical outdoor gear you own. 5. A written and practice plan. This is the tool that every other item on this list depends on to be useful and that almost nobody treats as a tool at all. A knife without a decision about when and how to use it is hardware. A filter without a designated water source identified in advance is a device waiting for a problem to find it. A radio without a pre-agreed listening schedule and a family communication protocol is a receiver with no one on the other end. The gear does not generate the plan gives the gear a function. A written survival plan is a specific document, not a mental note, not a conversation you had once. A physical document that contains your evacuation triggers, your primary and secondary routes, your designated meeting points, your out-of-area contact information, the responsibilities of each household member, your medical information, your communication protocol, and your decision framework for the situations most likely to require it. It takes one afternoon to write. It should be reviewed twice a year and updated when circumstances change. Every adult and older child in your household should have read it and be able to execute their part of it without being told. A copy goes in every go bag. A copy goes in your vehicle. A copy exists somewhere outside your home in case your home is the thing you are evacuating from. Every piece of gear you own performs at the level of the plan it is embedded in. Excellent gear without a plan performs like no gear at all under the cognitive load of a real emergency. A basic plan with basic gear outperforms expensive gear with no plan every single time. The plan is the tool. Everything else is just equipment. 5 items, 1 afternoon to acquire the first 4 and write the 5th. Total cost under $150 for the physical items, which is less than most people spend on gear that will spend its life in a closet waiting for a scenario it was never actually designed to handle. Preparedness is not a gear problem. It has never been a gear problem. It is a clarity problem. The clarity to know what actually matters, acquire it without overcomplicating it, and have a plan that puts it to work before you need it. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 5 you already have and which one you are getting this week. The action in the comments on this channel is what makes it worth building. Subscribe if this is the preparedness conversation your feed has been missing. And the next video is one I have been building for a while, and I think it is going to change how you think about the entire preparedness project. We are talking about the single most common reason people with solid supplies still fail when it actually matters: the psychology of survival. Who makes it and who does not, and what the documented research actually says. That one is coming soon. Do not miss it.